Hey guys, this week I am in El Salvador, and this may be the first video where I'm actually not going to be fishing. As bad as I want to fish here, that was not the plan for this week. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of what we did and the other piece of my heart that I have, not just for fishing, but for serving the underserved populations. So I'm going to take you along this week along with my nursing students. So I am a doctor of nursing practice, full-time nursing professor, and I'm taking my students with me on spring break to El Salvador. So I have some pretty incredible students. Could you imagine being 20 years old, around that, raising funds to jump in an airplane, to not go to a beach somewhere and relax, but to go serve the underserved populations? Those are my students this week. They're absolutely amazing, and I am so proud of them. So they would go into the schools and they would educate. So they were teaching about oral hygiene, hand hygiene, sun protection, dehydration, signs and symptoms of that, how to address wounds and do wound care.
What are you teaching them?
Oh, we're teaching about oral hygiene. Yeah, we talk about foods that are good and bad for your teeth, and we talk a little bit about enamel.
About brushing your teeth, how to do it, how long to do it, things like that, all the basics.
Yeah.
How many teeth there are, what happens when you lose one.
How do you say germs? Hermenes. So what are you guys teaching them?
We're teaching them about their heart and lungs, so we tell them a little bit about how they work and then how they work together, and how they have to work harder when you exercise, and then we practice some exercises.
We roll a dice, and then we determine the exercises that they're going to do, and then we do it with them.
Cool. Oh yes. They get to listen to their heart and lungs.
Eye screening, vision screening. They did an absolutely amazing job this year in going into the schools and educating. Some of the kids, they got to hear their heartbeats for the first time and to hear their lungs, the air go in and out of their lungs. And there's always smiles with that, which was a lot of fun. So not only did they go into the schools, but then we would go into the houses. So this year I had 4 nurses with me, and I would split up my students between the nurses. So we'd have 4 groups that would go into the houses, and we would go and we would assess. So we see if there's any medical needs, and again, we're treating holistically, mind, body, spirit of each person that we go and we assess. If there are any critical needs, we would send them to the clinic. If there's anything we could treat while we're there, such as wound care or over the counters, maybe they needed some cough drops. A lot of people had respiratory illnesses, and it's something common that I see here every year. There's a lot of dust and there is a lot of smoke, especially cooking within the kitchen area, and the smoke is just permeating through the house. So there's a lot of respiratory issues. So if we could help and treat right there, that's what we would do. If not, we were sending them to the clinic, and that's the mobile clinic that we'd set up in one of the local churches. So my students would go and they would hike. We were slipping and falling all over the mountain because we don't have mountains in Florida. And they did a great job assessing and finding health needs and just working through differentials of what it could possibly be. I love seeing that side of it, and then just seeing it all come together and them just finally understanding that, oh, okay, this is what it is, or this is what it could be. And then we'd give a referral ticket and they would go to the clinic. Yeah. Hello. Just waiting for it to happen.
Watching my Anderson just wants me to fall on camera.
Yes. You're not on camera though, so it can't be you.
No.
Not your struggles, your defeats.
Classic.
No pressure, no pressure. You made it!
And we were also able, this is one of the cool things that I like to do every year, we're able to give out a bag of food. So when we give out a bag of food, this can last anywhere from 2 weeks to a month, depending on how many people are in the family. But we would give out a ticket for a bag of food, and they would come to the clinic if they had the health needs, but also we would have an hour of just distributing the food to the families, and people would walk for hours to get there. And when we're distributing the food, you know, we hiked and we went, and sometimes we rode a cattle truck just to get to where they were, but these people would walk to go and get the food to then walk back to their house. And it's very humbling to see something like that. You know I take it for granted all the time of just knowing that I don't have to think about where my next meal is going to come from, and to be able to meet that need, not only medically, but that physical need of having food is really special. So that's always something that I enjoy during the trips.
They're all too scared. Más arriba y dos palabras. Más arriba. Sí. Ok. Listo. 1, 2, 3.
I don't know what he's saying, but it's funny.
¿Dónde tiene chibolita, po? Ah. Ah.
Oh.
Chibolitas.
Oh. Acne. This is what I needed. Someone to point out my acne. That's really helpful. No.
Otra chibolita.
Wow. No más.
Isaac. Mira, ahí sí, Isaac. Esos perros son bravos. Va, yo no respondo. Isaac.
Isaac.
Vale, pero de la mano bien. Caminando normal. ¿Camina normal? Isaac, por favor.
Sí, pero camina yo.
Isaac.
So, Isaac, you may have seen him in one of the other videos when we did Stephen's story, but Isaac is very special to me. His family is. The first time I ever came to El Salvador, Sandra, his mom, was working on a team with me, and they're a Salvadorian family. And I just had a bond with her. I sat on a bus ride, and we were going back 2 hours, didn't understand anything each other were saying, but we'd try to communicate. And every year I'd see Sandra, and I'd see her brother and her dad, and their family became very close. And over the years of just knowing them and seeing her life, and we kind of like grew up together in different countries, but still had a relationship. And when she had Isaac, he was considered the miracle child because she did have a high-risk pregnancy, and they were not sure if he was going to be a healthy baby when he was born. But when he came, he made his entrance into the world, and the world has never been the same. Now we have Isaac, and he is just one of the coolest kids. He's 5 years old now, and I've been able to see him every year, and ever since he was a baby up until now. And he always said he wanted to be a doctor like his Aunt Bree, and of course that melted my heart. But just knowing the family too, I have a special place in my heart for them. And this year I brought him a pair of scrubs, because last year he came along with us and he had this little doctor set, and he was saying he wanted to be a doctor like Aunt Bree. And so this year I got him a pair of scrubs, and I got him a real stethoscope. So he was running around assessing his patients as we were going from house to house, and that was one of the coolest things to see.
Echale corazón. A Eliezer, ¿eh? Pastor, se escuchó que le rugieron de Dios y las tripas por eso.
Qué feo me hicieron las tripas de Dios.
¿En serio?
¿Cómo le hace? Uy, ¿va a arruinar eso? No, va a arruinar eso.
Who is Steven? Steven is a very special little boy that my team happened to find a few years ago. And when we first found him, he was not able to walk. He was on all fours, you know, just in the dirt. He's incontinent, so he didn't have pants on, and he was walking on all fours like he was an animal. And if it was in the States, it would be considered severe neglect, but his grandma took him in, and she was doing all she possibly could. It was probably one of the hardest cases I've ever seen. And I worked with kids with special needs. I worked with you know, families with autism, and it broke me when I first saw that, and I couldn't sleep for a couple days, and I knew we had to do something. So last ditch effort, I asked the grandma if it was okay to make a video and just kind of share their story. And we were able to raise support thanks to Fathering Autism, the Moss family. They are huge supporters in this, and their fans as well. And we were able to raise supplies, and Isaiah and I were able to take the supplies to Steven. So the first time that he was able to take steps with a walker, and he had an adaptive stroller, and we brought supplies for nutrients because he had a lot of GI issues going on. And then the following year, my students came, and we were able to bring him a posterior walker, which he absolutely adores, and he uses it like a wild man. And then this year we were able to come again and see him, and it's just so cool to be able to monitor the progress and just to see his growth, because now he's able to stand up on his own. And his grandma was saying that he was able to stand up on his own and take 5 steps by himself, which I just made me tear up. And she was also just saying how grateful she was, and she wasn't expecting it. The first time I asked her what he needed, she was like, I can't pay for any of this. I can't, God's gonna repay you. I can't pay for any of this. And we're like, no, like, we don't want anything for it. We want to help. And just seeing his progress now, it just makes my soul so happy. Just seeing how amazing he's doing. He's developing. He's talking to his grandma. He's saying words where when I first met him, it was just it seemed like there's nobody there. He would say Steven, 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 and then he would look sometimes, but most of the time he was just off in his world. And now he's able to communicate via signs, so when he's hungry, or he's able to say a few words. And it was just so amazing to see how somebody who was, how I would say is like failure to thrive, to now thriving, was incredible. And to know that we just so happened to walk up on this house, and it was by chance, coincidence, whatever you want to call it, he's doing absolutely amazing now. So we'll show a little video of him and his status, and just give you all an update for those who have seen him since the beginning. He's doing absolutely incredible, and thank you so much to everybody who was able to help.
Oh no.
The last name is 12.
I'm Armenian.
What?
Armenian. And Swedish.
This one's really bright, so she doesn't lose him on the mountain when he goes walking.
Para. Él solo y pega hasta 5 pasitos.
He can stand alone and he can give like 5 steps or something like that by himself.
Él solo.
By himself.
Praise God.
Yeah. Gloria a Dios.
Sí.
Yeah, we were talking about you.
Oh, estás muy feliz.
Wow. So she said that, I don't know if you guys heard that, but he can stand and he can take 5 steps on his own. Which, when we first found him, that was not a reality at all.
Está feliz.
So she's like doing signs with it.
Yeah.
Cuando quiere comer, dice, mira, mira.
When he wants some food, he said, mida, like food. But
So he's talking a little bit
yeah,
too.
a little.
Wow. Take a listen. I'm not going to give you a shot, I promise.
No va a haber ningún toque ni nada de eso.
Like that.
He turned 6 years old on May the last year.
What's coming up?
Almost 7?
Almost 7?
Almost 7. So this
El 17 de mayo.
17, May 17.
Oh, again.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. I know this wasn't the fishing video that you all were probably expecting, but it is a big part of my life, and I'm not trying to go out of my way to make content. I'm just trying to show what my life is like every week, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm in El Salvador, and this is a big part of what I'm passionate about and what I can foresee myself doing in the future. And it's definitely not a one-time thing. I've been coming here since I was 16, and I'm really grateful that I've been able to continue and watch some of these kids grow up, and I'm thankful for the opportunity. And I know I've had people say, "Oh my gosh, you're such a good person. You're amazing. You're so, loving and all this." I'm able to do this because I was put in the right connection with people, and why would I not when I'm able to? So it is a privilege for me to be able to be here, to be able to take these students and watch them grow, and many of them have come back and plan to come back, and hopefully it's just a catalytic effect and they just continue to help and care for the underserved. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see what next week will hold. I'm not sure yet.
You're warm. The other one's cellulitis.
What should I take?
Cellulitis.
What? Is it on me? Is it on me? Is it on me?
The most makeshift IV start kit.
What's your thing?
I think you did a good job. I'll find out.
I'm number 7 in El Salvador. Got cellulitis. Poor thing.
This is one of my favorite foods. Pupusas, made by Sandra. Yeah. I'll bring home in my say a comment saying yes.
Like there weren't enough.
I think it's gonna be one of his favorites too.
Y creo que esta van a ser uno de sus favoritos también.
Not just that.
Lo siento. Oh. The neighbors are gonna love it.